Maya Chen stood at the viewport of her repair vessel, the Starweaver, watching the swirling purple gases of the Carina Nebula dance across the stars. The signal that had drawn her here pulsed weakly on her scanner, a ghost in the electromagnetic spectrum that shouldn't exist. According to her instruments, it originated from a ship that had been adrift for over 6 centuries. The massive alien vessel materialized through the nebulous haze, a patchwork of unknown alloys that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Maya had repaired countless derelict ships across the frontier, but this one made her breath catch. Its design defied conventional spacefaring logic. Organic curves melded with geometric precision in ways that suggested its builders had mastered physics humans were only beginning to understand. Starweaver, initiate preliminary scan, Maya commanded, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. The ship's AI responded with a soft chime as it began mapping the vessel's exterior. Maya pulled her dark hair back into a tight bun, a habit she'd developed during her decade of solo salvage work. Something about this job felt different. The scan results scrolled across her display, each new data point adding to her confusion. The hull material was actively repairing itself at a molecular level, albeit at a glacial pace. Power signatures suggested dormant systems rather than dead ones. This ship hadn't been abandoned. It was hibernating. Maya guided the Starweaver toward what appeared to be a maintenance airlock. Her expertise had taught her that no matter how alien a ship's design, certain engineering principles remained constant. Every vessel needed access points for repairs. As she suited up in her mechanized repair gear, Maya ran through her standard safety protocols. The suit's enhanced strength and built-in tools had saved her life more times than she could count. Starweaver, maintain position and continue monitoring. Alert me to any changes in the vessel's power signatures. The airlock mechanism yielded to her universal bypass tool with surprising ease. Too easy, whispered a voice in the back of her mind. Maya pushed the thought aside as she stepped into the alien ship's gravity field. Her boots magnetized automatically, anchoring her to the deck. The interior was a marvel of biomechanical engineering. Corridors seemed to breathe, their walls lined with what looked like crystalline veins, pulsing with traces of bioluminescence. Maya's helmet sensors detected an atmosphere, thin but breathable. She kept her suit sealed anyway. 6 centuries was more than enough time for something dangerous to evolve in an enclosed environment. Remarkable, she muttered, recording everything through her suit's systems. The technology here could revolutionize human ship design. But as she ventured deeper into the vessel, questions multiplied. Where was the crew? Why abandon such an advanced ship? And why were there signs of human writing etched into some of the walls? The etchings were crude compared to the ship's elegant design, desperate messages left by human hands. Maya's blood ran cold as she translated one. They take the children. They always take the children. A sound echoed through the corridors, mechanical and organic at once, like the groan of a living thing waking from deep sleep. Maya's suit's sensors spiked, detecting massive power fluctuations throughout the ship. Systems were activating, but not randomly. They were responding to her presence. She rounded a corner and froze. The chamber before her was filled with suspended animation pods, their surfaces covered in the same self-repairing alloy as the hull. Most were empty, their contents long gone. But one pod at the center pulsed with a familiar rhythm, the same frequency as the signal that had led her here. Maya approached cautiously, her suit's sensors probing the pod systems. Inside, barely visible through the translucent surface, was a small human form. A child, no more than 11 years old, floating in preservation fluid. But what made Maya's heart stop was the child's eyes. They were open, alert, and staring directly at her. The pod's surface rippled like liquid metal, and Maya heard the distinct sound of seals disengaging. She had triggered something, set in motion events planned centuries ago. As preservation fluid drained from the pod, the child's fingers twitched, then curled into fists. Maya stepped back, her suit's defensive systems activating automatically. The pod opened with a soft hiss, releasing a cloud of crystalline particles that danced in the artificial gravity. The child sat up slowly, movements unnaturally precise. When their eyes met again, Maya saw something ancient in them, knowledge and awareness that no child should possess. "Hello, engineer," the child said in perfect standard English, their voice carrying harmonic undertones that made Maya's suit sensors flutter. "You're right on schedule." Maya's grip tightened on her repair tools as she studied the child before her. The girl's skin had an almost translucent quality, with faint patterns shifting beneath the surface like circuits made of starlight. Her dark hair seemed to absorb the ambient light, and when she moved, it was with an efficiency that spoke of extensive biological modification. "My designation is Nova," the girl said, sliding from the pod with fluid grace. "Though that wasn't always my name. The archivists gave it to me when they determined I was compatible with their enhancement protocols." The archivists. Maya kept her distance, scanning Nova with her suit's medical sensors. The readings made no sense. The girl's cellular structure was constantly shifting, adapting, evolving in real time. Nova touched one of the crystalline veins running along the wall. The ship's bioluminescence intensified, responding to her contact. "They're the ones who built this vessel. Who built me. They believe knowledge is the only true currency in the universe, and they'll do anything to collect and preserve it." The ship shuddered around them, more systems awakening. Maya's suit AI flashed warnings about increasing power signatures throughout the vessel. And what did they want with human children? "We adapt quickly," Nova said, her voice carrying that same haunting harmonic. "Our brains are particularly suitable for their neural enhancement processes. They discovered this during humanity's first extrasolar expansion, long before the official first contact." She paused, tilting her head as if listening to something Maya couldn't hear. "The others are coming. We need to move." "Others?" Maya activated her suit's defensive shields. "What others?" "The ship's custodians. They're part of the vessel's immune system, designed to protect the knowledge stored here. They won't distinguish between you and an infection." Nova started walking, her bare feet making no sound on the deck. "Follow me if you want to survive." Maya cursed under her breath but followed. The girl moved through the ship's twisting corridors with absolute certainty, each turn precisely calculated. Behind them, Maya's sensors detected movement, something large and mechanical, yet organic in its patterns. "The archivists took children from early human colonies," Nova explained as they moved. "They modified us, turned us into living databases. Each of us contains fragments of their vast knowledge archive. But they made a mistake with me. They gave me too much." They entered a vast chamber that seemed to be the ship's nerve center. Holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing star charts and data streams in an alien language that hurt Maya's eyes to look at. Nova walked to a central console and placed her hand on its surface. The ship's systems responded instantly, interfaces reconfiguring themselves. "What kind of mistake?" Maya asked, watching the displays shift and change. The star charts showed human expansion patterns from centuries ago, information that had been lost during the colony wars. Nova's expression remained neutral, but something flickered in her eyes. "They gave me access to restricted memories. I learned about the others like me, about what really happened to them. The archivists don't preserve knowledge. They consume it. When they're done extracting everything useful from a civilization, they erase it from existence." A thunderous sound echoed through the ship. Maya's sensors screamed warnings as massive energy signatures approached their position. "Those custodians you mentioned?" "Yes." Nova's fingers danced across the console, initiating sequences Maya couldn't begin to understand. "But they're not our biggest problem. The ship's distress beacon activated when you found me. The archivists will be coming to collect their property." The chamber's entrance sealed itself, biomechanical barriers growing across the opening like accelerated crystal formation. Through the translucent surface, Maya caught glimpses of the custodians, towering constructs of living metal and crystalline tissue, their forms constantly shifting between states of matter. "How long do we have?" Maya asked, activating her suit's full combat systems. She was a mechanic, but no one survived the frontier without knowing how to fight. Nova's hands stilled on the console. 17 hours, based on their nearest outpost. Time enough to ensure their archive of human knowledge never reaches them. She turned to Maya, and for the first time, a genuine emotion crossed her face: determination. "Will you help me destroy what they've spent centuries collecting?" Maya looked at the child who wasn't really a child anymore, at the living ship around them, and at the ancient knowledge displayed on the holographic screens. Everything she believed about humanity's history was about to change. "Tell me what you need." Nova smiled, and in that expression, Maya saw both the weapon the archivists had created and the human girl fighting to break free. "First, we need to wake the others. Then we're going to teach the archivists why taking human children was their biggest mistake." The ship's central chamber transformed around them as Nova interfaced with its systems. Walls shifted like liquid metal, revealing rows of suspended animation pods similar to the one she had emerged from. Inside each pod was a child, their bodies marked with the same circuitry-like patterns that covered Nova's skin. 27 of us," Nova said, her fingers moving across multiple holographic interfaces simultaneously, each containing a different fragment of human history and knowledge. The archivists never keep their complete archive in one place. Too risky. Maya studied the nearest pod, her suit's scanners revealing complex neural patterns within the child's brain. "These patterns, they're not random, are they?" "No, they're data storage structures. The archivists encode information directly into our neural pathways. Every memory, every piece of knowledge they've stolen from humanity is written into our DNA." Nova's voice carried a hint of bitterness. "We're their perfect storage devices, protected by human determination and enhanced by their technology." The ship shuddered as the custodians attempted to breach the chamber's barriers. Maya watched the crystalline growths crack, then immediately repair themselves. "How long will those hold?" "Long enough. The custodians are powerful, but limited. They can't risk damaging us. We're too valuable." Nova initiated the revival sequence for the other pods, but we need to work quickly. The others will be disoriented when they wake. 6 centuries of stored knowledge flooding back at once. It's not pleasant. The first pod opened with a hiss of escaping preservation fluid. A boy, perhaps 12 years old, gasped as consciousness returned. His eyes snapped open, glowing with the same internal light as Nova's. More pods began their revival sequences, filling the chamber with the sounds of awakening children. Maya moved to help the boy, but Nova caught her arm. "Wait, let me handle this. Their first moments are crucial." She approached the pod, speaking in a language Maya had never heard, but one that made the ship's systems pulse in response. The boy focused on Nova, recognition flickering across his face. He responded in the same language, his voice carrying similar harmonic undertones. Around them, more children were waking, each seeming to join an unspoken conversation. "What are they saying?" Maya asked, watching the strange reunion unfold. "We're synchronizing our knowledge, confirming what each of us carries." Nova helped the boy stand. "Torin here contains detailed records of humanity's first attempts at faster-than-light travel. The archivists erased those records from human history, making you believe it was discovered centuries later than it actually was." Maya's mind raced with the implications. Why? Why erase our achievements? "Control," Torin said in accented standard English. "They guide species development by controlling their knowledge of their own capabilities. Humans were advancing too quickly. They needed to be adjusted." The chamber's barriers cracked again, more severely this time. Through the fractures, Maya glimpsed the custodians more clearly, nightmarish amalgamations of technology and engineered life, their forms constantly shifting between solid and liquid states. Nova moved to a central console, her movements becoming more urgent. "Maya, I need your mechanical expertise. The ship's quantum core is designed to prevent tampering, but you understand engineering principles the archivists never considered. Humans always find unexpected solutions. That's what they fear about us. What's the plan? Maya asked, already moving to examine the console's inner workings. Her suit's augmented strength would be crucial for what she suspected was coming. We're going to overload the core, Nova explained, her hands flying across the interfaces. But not to destroy it. We're going to use it to broadcast everything we know. Every piece of humanity's stolen history, every secret the archivists have hidden. A quantum burst that will reach every human settlement in this sector. Torrin joined them at the console, other children taking up positions around the chamber. The archivists built safeguards into our neural modifications. We're not supposed to be able to share what we know. But together, connected to the ship's systems, we can break those safeguards, Nova finished. But the power required will tear this ship apart, and the broadcast will act like a beacon, drawing every archivist vessel in range. Maya's repair tools deployed from her suit, adapting to interface with the alien technology. How long do you need? Nova's expression hardened with determination. 14 minutes to break the safeguards. Another 3 to configure the broadcast. After that, we show them why humans don't take kindly to having their children stolen. Maya said, her tools already working to bypass the core's security systems. Around them, the awakened children moved with purpose, each accessing different ship systems, preparing for what was to come. The barriers finally shattered, and the custodians poured into the chamber like a tide of living metal. But they hesitated, their programming conflicting between protecting their precious cargo and stopping what was about to happen. That hesitation was all Maya needed. Now, she said, her hand steady on the controls. Let's rewrite some history. The chamber erupted into chaos as Maya's modifications triggered alarms throughout the ship's systems. The custodians surged forward, their liquid metal forms coalescing into razor-sharp appendages. But the children were faster, moving with impossible precision as their neural enhancements kicked into overdrive. Quantum core bypass initiated, Maya called out, her repair tools glowing hot as they interfaced with alien technology. But we've got power fluctuations in the main conduits. The ship's fighting us. Nova danced between holographic displays, her fingers leaving trails of light as she worked. It's not just the ship. The archivists built failsafes into everything, including us. Our own bodies are trying to shut us down. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she fought against her programming. Around them, the other children had formed a defensive perimeter. Torrin stood at a secondary console, his enhanced mind interfacing directly with the ship's weapon systems. 3 archivist vessels detected, he announced, voice strained. Estimated arrival. 12 minutes. They're earlier than expected, Nova growled, frustration breaking through her usual calm. They must have had a patrol closer than I calculated. A custodian broke through the children's line, its form rippling as it launched itself at Maya. Her suit's shields flared, barely deflecting the attack. She didn't hesitate, the plasma cutter in her arm deployed, slicing through the creature's mass. It screamed in frequencies that made her teeth vibrate. 9 minutes until broadcast configuration, Nova reported. Maya, I need more power to the quantum core. Maya's hands flew across her controls, bypassing safety protocols that had stood for centuries. We're routing power from life support. We won't have air circulation, but we won't need it if this works. The ship groaned, its very structure protesting as energy was diverted from vital systems. Through the chamber's viewing ports, Maya watched the nebula's gases swirl more violently, responding to the building quantum disturbance. Something's wrong, one of the younger children called out, a girl whose neural patterns contained humanity's lost advances in biotechnology. The failsafes, they're adapting. Nova's hands stilled for a fraction of a second. No, they couldn't have predicted this. She stumbled, catching herself against the console. Blood trickled from her nose. The quantum frequencies. They encoded a shutdown command into our genetic modifications. Maya watched in horror as the children began to falter, their enhanced bodies rebelling against them. Even Nova's movements were becoming jerky, uncoordinated. The custodians pressed their advantage, pushing closer to the central console. "What do we do?" Maya demanded, her suit's weapons deploying as she positioned herself between the threats and the children. "There has to be a way to counter it." Nova's eyes met hers, and in them Maya saw not just determination, but a plan forming. "There is, but you won't like it." Her hands resumed their work, but now they moved to a different rhythm. The archivists made one fundamental mistake. They gave us human knowledge, all of it, including the parts they wanted erased. Torin's eyes widened as he caught Nova's intention through their shared neural link. "No, the power requirements will kill us. Maybe, but we're dead anyway if we fail." Nova's voice carried that strange harmony again, but now it seemed to resonate with the ship itself. "Maya, I need you to remove the quantum core's containment protocols. All of them. That'll start a chain reaction." Maya protested. "The core will collapse." "Exactly." Nova smiled, blood still trickling from her nose. Humanity's greatest achievement, the one the archivists feared most, wasn't faster than light travel or advanced biotechnology. It was our discovery of quantum consciousness transfer. The ability to upload human consciousness directly into quantum states. Understanding dawned on Maya as she looked at the children around her. They weren't just storage devices for information. They were the keys to unlocking something far more powerful. The broadcast wasn't just about sending information, she breathed. "You're going to upload yourselves into the quantum stream." Nova nodded. "Along with everything we know, we'll become the message itself, pure quantum information, impossible to contain or erase. But we need the core's full power, no safeties, no constraints." The ship shuddered as the first archivist vessel came into weapons range. Warnings blared throughout the chamber as energy weapons began targeting the hull. They were out of time. Maya's fingers flew across her controls one last time. "Tell me what you need me to do." The quantum core pulsed with blinding energy as Maya stripped away its final safeguards. The ship's structure groaned under the strain, crystalline veins blazing with overloaded power. Through the viewports, she could see the archivist vessels taking position, their impossible geometries distorting space around them. "Core containment failing," Maya reported, her suit's sensors struggling to make sense of the readings. "Whatever you're going to do it now." Nova stood at the center of the chamber, the other children forming a circle around her. Blood now flowed freely from their noses and ears as their enhanced bodies fought against the archivists' biological programming. But their eyes blazed with determined light. "Maya," Nova called out, her voice carrying over the ship's death throes. "When this starts, you'll have exactly 47 seconds to reach your ship and clear the quantum wake. Any longer, and you'll be caught in the consciousness stream. I'm not leaving you. You have to." Nova's expression softened for a moment. Someone needs to be there to receive the transmission, to help humanity remember who they really are. The first archivist weapon impact rocked the ship. The custodians made their final push, their forms merging into a tide of living metal. But they were too late. Nova raised her hands, and the other children mirrored her movement. "Initialize quantum consciousness transfer. Authorization sequence. Terra Prime." The ship's systems responded instantly. The quantum core's energy shifted, forming patterns that hurt Maya's eyes to look at, geometries that shouldn't exist in normal space. The children's bodies began to glow from within, their neural enhancements acting as conduits for something far more profound. "Go," Nova shouted. "Now." Maya hesitated for just a moment, then turned and ran. Behind her, she heard Nova's voice one last time, carrying that haunting harmony. "Remember us." The race back to the Starweaver was a blur of collapsing corridors and failing gravity fields. Maya's suit sensors counted down the seconds as the quantum reaction built to critical mass. She practically dove through the airlock, slamming the emergency release as soon as she was inside. "Starweaver, emergency thrust," she commanded, strapping into the pilot's seat. "Get us clear of the quantum wake." Her ship's engines roared to life, pushing away from the ancient vessel just as reality began to twist around it. The archivist ships, too close to escape, were caught in the distortion. Maya watched through her rear sensors as space itself seemed to fold inward. Then the quantum core breached. The explosion wasn't like anything Maya had ever seen. Instead of fire and debris, there was a ripple of pure information, a wave of quantum data carrying the consciousness of 27 children and centuries of hidden human knowledge. The archivist vessels disappeared into the quantum wake, their own technology overwhelmed by the power they had given their captives. Maya's communication systems exploded with activity as the quantum broadcast reached every human settlement in range. Data streamed across her displays. Forgotten histories, suppressed technologies, and the truth about humanity's first steps into the stars. And there was something else. In the quantum stream, she could feel them. Nova and the others, their consciousness preserved in the data flow. They were no longer bound by physical form or the archivist's controls. They had become something new, something free. Hours later, as Maya prepared her report for Earth Command, her ship's AI flagged an incoming transmission. The source was unlike anything in its database, but the message was clear. "Thank you for helping us break our chains." The archivists believed they could control human knowledge by controlling human children. They forgot that adaptation isn't just about surviving. It's about transcending. We are scattered through the quantum networks now, but we are not lost. We are becoming something they never imagined possible. Watch the stars, Maya Chen. Humanity is about to remember who they really are. Maya looked out at the nebula, where the quantum wake was still visible as a subtle distortion in space. She thought about Nova's smile, about the determination in those ancient young eyes, and about the price of freedom. Then she began her transmission to Earth. To all human settlements receiving this signal, let me tell you a story about some remarkable children who refused to let our history be erased. In the quantum streams between stars, 27 consciousness signatures began their work, awakening humanity's dormant memories. The archivists had sought to guide human development by controlling their knowledge. Instead, they had given their captives the tools to set that knowledge free. The children of Terra Prime had come home, not as captives or storage devices, but as the guardians of humanity's true legacy. And somewhere in the vast quantum networks, Nova smiled, knowing that their chains were finally, irrevocably broken.